Good evening, Board President Nahabedian, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Ekchian. My name is Dr. Suzy Bajian. I'm here today as a representative of the ANCA Western Region Census Task Force and also the co-director of Armenian American Action Network. Thank you again for your letter of support for the inclusion of an Armenian checkbox under the new proposed MENA category for the 2030 census. I'm here to speak in support of the resolution before you. As you know, Glendale is home to the largest concentration of Armenian Americans in the U.S. However, currently the city and also the school district lacks meaningful and comprehensive data on Armenian Americans. The representation of Armenian Americans is imperative in the U.S. Census because the Armenian American community is a significant minority population within MENA and also within the U.S., including refugees, immigrants, English learners, and it is a community that continues to be invisible because of the lack of data and therefore denied the rights and benefits of census classification. Armenian Americans currently do not see themselves and their experiences accurately reflected in the U.S. Census, which shapes both federal, local, and state categories, resultant funding, opportunity, and anti-discrimination efforts in housing, healthcare, business, and also education. For example, Armenian Americans and all MENA communities are not given the same opportunities in education as other underserved populations. The U.S. does not currently collect data on Armenian American and MENA students and populations, so there's no way of tracking their progress in the educational system and addressing the opportunity gaps. This also impacts the funding of schools serving large populations of Armenian American and MENA students. Armenian Americans often do not receive culturally responsive instruction, trauma-informed instruction, and English language acquisition that addresses their unique linguistic and cultural positioning, experiences, and needs because of the lack of data and also the lack of research on ways to serve this community within the U.S. As just one example, the state of California currently does not track the progress of Armenian students or MENA students in the California dashboard, so we don't know how the graduation rates are, suspension rates, and absentee rates of these student populations. The California Healthy Kids Survey does not collect any information on Armenian American students, so we don't know how Armenian American students are feeling about their schooling experiences. Of course, all of this is with the exception of English language learners. There's a unique opportunity now to advocate for your Armenian American students. Having an Armenian checkbox would not only mean that the population of the city of Glendale would be more accurately counted, but it would mean that your MENA and Armenian American students would no longer be invisible, that GUSD would be able to track the opportunity gaps that exist in regards to these populations. I'd like to respectfully ask that you support the resolution before you that calls for the inclusion of an Armenian-specific checkbox under the proposed MENA category by the Office of Management and Budget. Thank you very much. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Are there any questions?
Thank you.
All right. And the next cards. All right. So we have 26 cards. We are going to do 1 minute each.
2 minutes, please.
And that is how we're moving along. And let me also say that, like I said, there's different folks who are going to be speaking. We're going to move through it 1 minute apiece. Please keep civility. This is public comment. Please speak your mind. Edit your writing so that it comes to 60 seconds, and then we will keep moving. I don't want to mute anyone, but I will. So we're going to have a minute, and that will give us more than the usual public comment time on a topic. And the first topic is Narine Dadevosyan. The first speaker is Nane Dadevosyan. Please come up. And let me also say that there are buttons with lights, and so the green and the yellow and the red. So red means that your time is up, and yellow means to please wrap it up.
Cool. So I didn't even know what I was going to really talk about because it's so many things to talk about. But I just want to say that what that man said, I forgot his name, that spoke for a long time, about SB 565, about creating these laws. So from my understanding, we already have these laws in place to protect citizens under these laws for the United States citizens. So out of work, off of work, anytime anybody gets assaulted, that is covered as protection under the law. Am I right? Yes. Okay. Next, isn't it weird that we didn't have any of this shit happening to teachers before the California state standards were about? And so instead of fixing the California state standards, what you do instead is you create laws to protect the peddlers of the California state standards. So why were these things not happening to teachers before any of this mess happened a couple of years ago? Am I right? Yeah, California school employees are teaching California state standards, and something's wrong with the state standards. And by doing their job, if they're getting threats for doing their job, then what is their job? That means I'm done.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sticking to the time. Okay, next is Alec Bartrosuf.
Good evening. My name is Alec Bartrosov. I'm the result of the Glendale Unified School District. I went to Horseman, Roosevelt, Clark, Magnet High School. I'm just here to support the board members, the administration, staff for including inclusive policies at our schools. I can tell you as a gay Armenian that grew up in the 90s, that went through our school system, you can only imagine the kind of crap that we've had to put up with. So thank you for advancing those policies on moving forward with them and making it a little bit easier for kids like me to grow up in this city. Thank you.
Next is Arman Petrosyan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, board members. The way I grew up, or we grew up, with love, dignity, respect towards humanity, towards everybody, whether it's Muslim, Christian, Asian, Jewish, or whatever. The humanity, that's how we grew up. We never grew up with hate. Now, same thing I'm teaching my kids. So whatever you guys doing, you're creating a division. You're creating a division as it is. The country has been divided. You're creating a more division, and you're creating hate, where the hate will not take anywhere good. I see the signs saying no room for hate. I don't know who is it for, but there is no hate. It's just a division. The government did a phenomenal job dividing us already, and we're getting more divided. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tammy Tiber.
Good evening, board members and superintendent. The United States Holocaust Memorial Museum is a famous poem by a pastor named Martin Neumoller called First They Came. Here's an adaptation of that poem. First they came for the teachers and the teacher specialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a teacher or a specialist. Then they came for the assistant superintendent, and I did not speak out because I was not an assistant superintendent. Then they came for me, the superintendent, and there was no one left to speak for me. It is not a coincidence that exactly 1 year ago today, a vocal minority came to the GUSD school board and viciously attacked me. They have come here again today to do the same thing to Dr. Kelly King. On November 2nd, 2021, there was a slide presentation that listed the board's education priorities. It was quite an impressive presentation that included statements like the board supports culturally relevant curriculum that emphasizes inclusion.
Ms. Tiber, thank you. Next speaker is Ray Sheldon. Ms. Tiber. I've already. Ms. Tiber, please. Ms. Tiber, please have a seat. Why don't you give it to us in writing? We'll take it and we'll make sure to read it. Your sound is muted, by the way. From the audience, we don't need any help from the audience. We don't need any help from the audience. All right. We are using the mute button, and so we're going to continue with Ray Sheldon. One moment, please.
Did I push a button?
Go ahead.
2 + 2 = 4. The world is not flat. Boys have penises, girls have vaginas. Gender is binary and cannot be changed. Biology is not bigotry. Heterosexuality is not hate. Gender confusion and gender delusion are deep psychological disorders. No caring profession or loving parent would ever support the chemical poisoning or surgical mutilation of a child's genitalia. Transgender ideology is anti-gay. It is anti-woman, and it is anti-human. It wants to take away women's sports, women's rights, women's achievements. It is misogyny writ large. And I can say this also as a gay man. The gay people...
That's time, sir. Next is Cheryl Schmidt. Cheryl? Cheryl?
I'm a product of GUSD, GoCV, and a mother of 3 children, grades 9th, 7th, and 1st. I'm opposed to GUSD's direct lobbying for the creation of Senate Bill 596, which scares parents from voicing any concerns, opinions about what is being taught in the classroom, and opposition to district policies. I'm disappointed to see that GUSD wants to send parents to jail for practicing their constitutional freedom of speech and freedom of religion and belief. GUSD encompasses many Christians, Mormons, Catholics, and conservative leading families. Our demographics include large percentages of Armenian, white, and Korean. Why are you trying to silence and criminalize us? This is reminiscent of when the FBI targeted PTA moms and dads, putting them on terrorist watch lists. Come on, Senator Portantino. Parents are not terrorists and shouldn't be treated as such. Our God-given responsibility is to protect our children and to protect them from predators, which sadly now includes teachers and administrators such as Assistant Superintendent Kelly King. A male coach followed his God-given conscience, which instructs him right from wrong. It is wrong for a male adult to see a female, biological female.
Next card is Jordan Henry.
Thank you for the applause, but this is not about me. This is about your policy. This is about your policy. AR 5145.3. Could we have some decorum? AR 5145.3 specifically requires written authorization for gender changes on permanent records. Kelly King has defied your own policy. She has admitted as such on film. Every teacher in these seats right here supports that. They support concealing private information about a minor's sexuality and sexual identity. They support this and conceal it from parents. How is that okay? How is that okay? All of you support this, and this is about non-discrimination. This policy is about non-discrimination. You're discriminating against certain parents. Kelly King specifically says, Christians, conservatives, hello. Where's the investigation into that video that she recorded 6 years ago? She wrote the policy 5145.3 that she violated.
Kelly King, let's go. We got 2,500 signatures.
All right. Next speaker is Yena Babayan.
Is this on? Hello. My name is Yeva, and I'm a product of the Glendale School District. Grew up here, went through elementary to high school to Glendale College, and I love this city. I love the community, and never have I ever seen it so divided like this, ever before until the last 2 years. My concern is the exclusion of parents in deciding the child's gender identity. Children need parental consent to go on field trips, but they are not required to give their consent when a child needs to decide their entire identity of existence. That seems a little weird to me. They can go on field trip. To go on a field trip, they need consent, but not to change their sex. Make it make sense. Thank you.
Next card is Patrick Davarhanyan.
That's for kids.
Good evening. Patrick Davarhanyan, social science teacher and co-chair of our new Ethnic Studies Committee. I'm here today to share my concern regarding the last Board of Education meeting when personal attacks were made once again against educators. The personal attacks made against Dr. Kelly King on April 4th were unwarranted, unprofessional, and completely inaccurate. Dr. King's years of service to the Glendale Unified School District as a dedicated teacher, teacher specialist, and now assistant superintendent is commendable. As one of the many individuals who I have had the opportunity to work with, I can attest to her passion for public education and her dedication to the welfare of all our students. Today, they are targeting LGBTQ kids and the adults who support them, but know that tomorrow they will be targeting the children of ethnic minorities, including Armenian kids. Their hate has no boundaries. Just the other day, while my class was learning about the contributions of our Armenian Americans, I received a public records request targeting our Armenian American unit. Our community should be aware that this request is next to the individual.
So sorry. All right. Next.
Can I ask a question? Nairi, Miss Habadine?
So next. Yes, Ms. Cross.
I just have a question. If I can't hear the speaker because of people speaking behind them, what should I do? Because I just am not sure what the next step.
Yeah, so please keep decorum, keep civility. You disagree. We get it. People have different opinions. We hear you. Those different opinions have been expressed in multiple ways, not only at this meeting, but every other place, social media, in newspapers, in posts, and emails, all kinds of things. So you are not unheard. This is a place when the speaker is speaking, the request is to have silence so we can hear all the speakers. Next is Karen Lowe. We might come back to that. Linda Campo.
Superintendent. I'm here as a community member and a parent to express my support of specific codifying protections for education for LGBTQ and other issues around identity and poverty too. I, as a mental health professional, started working in psychiatric hospitals. In 1986, I have witnessed the devastation to families and individuals without these kinds of support and education. And I also, incidentally, the incredible cost, financial cost, and I just want to express my support and thank you.
Next is Senge Esaya.
Good evening, board. Good evening, teachers and parents. My name is Sergey Yesan, parent of three. I have three kids that go to Glendale Unified School District. Here to support our parents and their opinion. Here to express my feelings about hate signs and stuff. I mean, we grew up our parents taught us to respect your teachers, respect elderly, respect any nationality or religion. I grew up in south of Russia where it's multinational and multi-religion, and we all got along wonderfully together. So I just don't want any co-parenting, and I don't want any laws that will control or change my children without my consent, if there is. Just like was being said, you need a consent for trip, you need a consent to take pictures of my kids. Ask for my consent to do anything else with them. Don't do it without my permission. And I will do anything and everything to protect my kids. Thank you.
Next card is Mike Mohill.
Mike Mohill.
Good evening, Glendale board members. My name is Mike Mohill. I've been in Glendale since the day of dirt. I went to Wilson Junior High School when Wilson was part of Glendale Unified School District on Verdugo Road. I graduated from Wilson Middle School, Glendale High School, 1960. When I went to school, the subject matter about hate was never talked about. Glendale knew about boys. They knew what was girls. But today, they want to mix everything together. But what you should be concerned about, you educators, are these results, that only 43% of the children are proficient in math and 65% in English. You should be ashamed of yourself. Here you are talking about boys and girls getting along. Your report card is a failure. When I went to school, we had great grades. Today you have grades that I'm embarrassed. I'm glad I'm not a parent, because the results are horrible. You are supposed to be educators, and you're worrying about boys and girls looking at each other and gender and all that so forth. Let's get to the right of getting good education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Next card is Adolfo Flores.
I'm going to speak of how contrary the goal of education in Glendale Unified School District is. Pedagogical errors of educational authorities promoting gender ideology, and they're tolerating gender ideology based on a number of fundamental pedagogical errors which imperil children's souls and seriously harm their natural well-being, as well as that of society as a whole. These pedagogical errors include indoctrinating small children with false doctrine, which they have no possibility of refuting effectively, pretending to draw out education of children instead of drawing attention to the objective reality outside themselves, revealed by natural reason and divine revelation, invading parents' rights to the training of their children in accordance with the end of which they were conceived, thinking that they can produce good citizens by methods other than those which make good formation of good Christians. Holding such discussions with children is crude indoctrination. Teachers are inculcating them to false doctrine which they can have no possibility of refuting themselves. Given the children's age and complete innocence of them being able to refute errors with the reference to any sound doctrine previously taught. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next card is Greg Alexanian.
Good evening. Did some research before I got here. Definition of a pervert is someone who alters something from its original course, meaning, or state to a distortion or corruption of what was first intended. Elon Musk just recently said any parent or doctor who sterilizes a child before they are consenting adults should go to prison for life. Dr. Michelle Castilla, MD, president of the American College of Pediatricians, identifies transgenderism as a mental illness. Kids are kids. They will flow naturally to the shiniest thing you dangle in front of them, i.e. whatever is being promoted right now. If anyone knows that, it should be educators, right? But this is a blatant attack on normal growth of a child. This is not about acceptance or compassion. This is about influencing those who are most susceptible and cannot protect themselves. Innocent children. Our bodies were designed our sexual bodies were designed for reproduction. Those playing God and redesigning it, per the definition I read before in the beginning, is a pervert. A perverse spirit is behind this, just like the ones who are trying to desensitize people to pedophilia, calling it minor attraction.
Thank you.
Next card is Arby, and I'm not able to read the handwriting. Please introduce her.
How are you guys? Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you for the guys over here on the other side, both sides. Nobody hates, nobody has any problem with that. Gender in California, it's 72 gender plus, plus, plus. Let's go back to the animals. Do cows have genders? Yes, they do. They have two. How many do the lions have? Two. How many do dogs have? Two. Oh, you forgot about it, huh? If the chicken would not be male and female, you would be starving to death because they couldn't reproduce. Wake up, okay? Stop dividing. Stop doing this stuff to the people. It's about their kids, and you have to understand. It's about their kids. That's why they are mad. That's why they are so angry. It's about their kids. Nobody has to come to my kid, tell my kid what to do. Yeah, if he's doing something wrong with it, yeah, you can say it. You can talk to me. Do not take it to a different level, because these parents, we're going to grow. We will grow and grow and grow. We will be here.
Next card is Eric Galistian.
Hello. Today you guys are helping 10-year-old girls transition to boys. What if tomorrow that 10-year-old girl wants to be 25? Are you guys going to buy her a fake ID? Are you going to take her to a bar to meet men that she could sleep with and then charge him with rape? Where then you could then identify as a girl and go to jail with women. So it doesn't make sense. Do you see where these gray lines are? My biggest struggle when I went to GUSD was when I could finish my homework to go outside and play. Stop stealing the youth and innocence from these kids.
Thank you.
Next card is Gayane Kalistian.
On? Hi. I am a product of Los Angeles Unified School District. I am a resident of Glendale Unified School District. I am a parent of an elementary grade child. And I do not want my child, once he becomes 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and goes to the locker room and sees a biological girl changing in front of him, and then the male coach is thinking that it is okay. That is not acceptable. You have to allow the parents to make decisions. We do not have any room for hate. I have no knowledge of any parent from this area and people who support us who have done any threats against Kelly King or against the Thai board teacher. I apologize if I said your name wrong. But you guys have to realize that there is no hate here. We're just protecting our children, our rights. If Senator Portantino has a script that he can read from instead of coming down here and talking to us from the bottom of his heart, let's see what kind of a question and answer response he can get. Thank you very much.
Next card is Alan Kalesians.
You guys are not going to be parents to our kids. We're the parents. The only reason we're here is to tell you we don't want too many restrictions on our kids. We want to make the rules. Everything has to go through us. You're not going to be the parents. Second, we've seen the shootings at schools. Me and my wife have sent many emails to every single one of you. Some of you guys I know personally. Some of you guys I know through emails and stuff because we do send a lot of emails to you guys. We only got one response back for security at our schools. What was the response? That we thank you that you guys are participating in gun support. What is that? We need police at our schools. That's the only email that we received. One email, one response. That's it.
Safety for our children. That's all we're asking for.
Next card is Elise Henry.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm a Glendale resident and mother of two small boys who are not yet school age, but will be eligible for enrollment in the next few years. I'd like to share my concerns about a few sections of AR 1.45, both of which have to do with lack of transparency between teachers, students, and parents. The section policy that I'd like to discuss concerns determining a student's gender identity and assessing a student's transition needs. Both of these passages, parent involvement in the decision or the child to transition and or change pronouns is either completely left out or not guaranteed. Changing gender pronouns is a powerful psychosocial intervention that has massive implications on a child's future and is a huge decision that should always include the child's parent or guardian. I strongly believe that it should not be for the student alone or the student and school faculty to decide. We don't co-parent with the government, and we put trust in the educators that teach our children that should be earned through open dialogue and honest conversation, regardless of the family's specific views about gender identity. It is not divisive, hateful, or fear-mongering to demand transparency about what our children experience during their time at school. Parents need to know what happens at school, especially when the subject matter is so deeply personal. Thank you.
Next card is Haik Mahmourian. Haik Mahmourian. You have 1 minute.
Okay, good evening, folks. I'm here to support all GT educators, first and foremost. And I want to just kind of reflect on some of the things that I've felt in the last hour or so. that I've been over here as a 22-year resident of Glendale and someone who is inching closer to becoming a parent. It is kind of scary to me when I see people in the 21st century right now from this podium talking about bringing definitions of a pervert from a dictionary and then having someone outside turning to a fellow next to me with a rainbow flag and outwardly asking that person, "Are you a pervert?" as if responding to hateful speech from this podium. To me, this is absolutely just egregious.
Okay. All right. And we are closing the cards because we have hit more than 20 minutes. So we're not accepting any new cards. And we're continuing with Hasmik Bezircan. Hasmik. Yeah. I think.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Hasmik Bezircan. I grew up in Glendale. Went to Glendale my whole life, GCC, yada yada. When I was growing up, I was a tomboy. And my parents were against me being a tomboy, okay? So I didn't like to wear dresses. I didn't like to do girly things. If I were going to GUSD today, Kelly King would love me. She would probably appoint me to get my breasts cut off. She would keep it from my parents. And I wouldn't have the beautiful family and the beautiful son that I have today. What I'm trying to say is I'm not against gay people. I'm not against transsexuals. I am against you bringing it to minors and indoctrinating them, brainwashing them, throwing it down their throats like it's basic curriculum. What the heck is going on in this city? Are you guys really, really logically thinking this is the best for the kids who are less than proficient in English, less than proficient in math, but they have to...
Next card is Aneta Karpetian. Aneta. Okay. Karpetian. All right, we'll go with Angela Vroom. All right. All right. We're doing 1 minute, Aneta.
Okay. Let's keep this short and simple. Tammy Tiber, you are not the victim. The 8-year-old kids that you showed inappropriate videos to are the victim. Yes. Kelly King, you are not the victim. The families whose children's files you're hiding in secret in your desk, those families, those children are the victim. Stop standing here and pretending as adults it's okay to sexualize and groom children. These are other people's children you are messing with. And we are not going to stand back and watch it happen. Okay? And as for the board, how many times have you guys asked us to stay off of social media? Why? You guys don't like the bad press? You don't like us uncovering the truth and telling the whole city of Glendale what's going on in GUSD? Is that why for 1 year now, I've requested public records on specific people, on specific keywords, and it's been 1 year and my request has not been fulfilled? Redacting names?
The next card is Angela Vroom Gavant.
Going to use my time here to pretend there's any legitimacy to any of the points that's been raised by many of the speakers tonight, because we know that they're here because of one local agitator standing behind me who uses these meetings to get social media attention. He has, I feel for the very frightened parents, he's radicalized. I see the rhetoric that you've imbibed, and we can all see it if you look at Jordan Henry's Twitter feed, in which he calls all of his he claims he sees demons everywhere. He believes I'm a witch. He sees communist conspiracies everywhere, and the parent group he's organized calls for rounding them up, calls his opponents cockroaches, demands for cleaning house. This is in their public social media posts. This is the language of genocide. This person and his followers, they live in a world where they really believe witches and demons are everywhere.
All right.
I'm going to close with David Lynch, who said fix.
Okay, everyone. All right, she's done. Okay. So we are toward the, you're doing really well, everyone. We have only a few more cards left. And the next card is Telly. And then it's Jill. And then it's Beta. So, and then we have one more on a different topic. So Telly, is Telly here? Okay. Telly say? All right, so Telly. Oh, one moment, Telly. Go for it.
My name is Telly C., and I'm speaking tonight as an educator, parent, coach, and community member. I speak today with the belief that deep down most, if not all of us, love and want what is best for our children. That is a common ground that we share. The differences are in what that should look like. Here's how I feel. For all the experiences and skills I've acquired as a parent, educator, and coach, I am deeply aware that there's still much I do not know and need to learn. What I do know, and what human history has proven, is that when we as a society become more understanding, inclusive, and representative of the people within it, when we seek to genuinely learn and to understand rather than create narratives to mask our ignorance and insecurities, our communities become safer and stronger. To Dr. King, our educators, and everyone in our city supporting our LGBTQ+ community, you are seen, you are loved, and you are saving our children's lives. Thank you for all you do and for putting our tax dollars to good use. Thank you.
The next card is Jill Simonian. And it's 1 minute, Jill.
Oh, it's 1 minute. Okay, I'll talk fast. Hi, everybody. I've got strong ties to Glendale. I'm a property owner, Armenian American, mistress of ceremonies multiple time for Glendale Educational Foundation, and I'm here to support the parents out there who are begging for truth and reason and virtue inside of our classrooms. Seeing what's happening here in GUSD is tragic, and this is not about anything or anyone hating the LGBTQ community. Nobody hates the LGBTQ community. I certainly don't. The root of this issue is the failure of this school board right here, this school board failing to educate children in knowledge, and the failure of this school board to act as an elected watchdog over the teachers, educators, administrators who might be compromised in instead delivering personal ideologies when they should in fact be teaching children reading and math to raise to grade level. That's the root issue. It is your job, especially as Armenian.
Okay, time is up. Okay, we are done. We're done. Jill, we're done. No group of people is monolithic. No group of people is monolithic. Bida Matthews, next card and final card.
I'd like to add. So I would appreciate it if you would just. Governor Spencer Cox made an emotional plea for compassion towards transgender youth last month in explaining his decision to veto a bill banning transgender students from playing girls' sports. In a letter to the state Senate President and House Speaker, Governor Cox told his fellow Republicans that he was moved by data showing that among 75,000 kids playing high school sports in Utah, only 4 were transgender, with just 1 involved in girls' sports. 4 kids and 1 of them playing girls' sports. That's all what this is about. 4 kids who aren't dominated or winning trophies or taking scholarships. 4 kids who are just trying to find some friends and feel like they're a part of something.
Okay, no interruption.
This is a quote from the governor. 4 kids trying to get through each day, he wrote. Rarely has so much fear and anger been directed at so few. Thank you for standing with our children, standing strong. A rainbow would not be as beautiful without all the colors standing strong together. Thank you.
Christians be discriminated against.
And next card on a separate topic, Mr. Sahakyan Neda Farhumand.
Good evening, Superintendent Ekchian, Board President Nahabedian, and school board members. This is a very difficult meeting for me to be at because I'm here to thank you, and it is hard to do that in a space where I feel as though what I am thanking you for is probably going to go on deaf ears. That being said, you all know me for the many hats I wear in this community. Perhaps I'd like you to know me a little better through a different lens today. My parents were not born in this country. I did not grow up in Glendale. I am not a product of GUSD schools. I struggled as a child to find my place, to belong, and to feel valued as a student where I went to elementary school, middle school, and high school. 20 years ago, when I dropped off my son at Valley View, I worried about how my son would navigate things in a district where I had no roots, where I knew no one, where no one knew me. All I knew for sure was that I would be an engaged parent, I would do the best I can, I would inform myself, I would show up, I would ask questions about the things I didn't know, and I would roll up my sleeves and help out everywhere I can. How many parents in this room are immigrants, come from immigrant families? Probably a lot. How many parents in this room have students with IEPs or 504s? I know mine did. I worried about my son's ability to learn not only English, math, and science, but life skills. Every time I met with Glendale teachers or administrators, I was asked to trust their experience, their expertise, and believe that there is more to student success than textbook learning. I was struggling to understand through the lens of my parents, who came from a different culture and spoke a different language. And it was difficult to understand that learning life skills was more than tying shoes or making breakfast. It meant learning that everyone had a seat at their table, that their contributions were valued. Why? Because that is how we support students and produce productive outcomes.
To be life ready beyond USD, you have to be able to dive into an arena with students from all over the world, different races, creeds, colors, nationalities, religions, sexual identities. To succeed in the real world, a student has to be able to navigate that pool of waters and to find ways to collaborate with colleagues, friends, neighbors. While the faces in this room have changed over the 2 decades, there are a few faces that are the same. Ms. Nahabedian has been here for much of my journey. Dr. Kelly King has been a witness to my journey. When I think about how my son, went from Valley View to Rosemont to CV to getting accepted to NYU and getting a bachelor's and a master's in a school that had 126,000 applications this year, and where 3 of my son's students, private students, also from CV, just got accepted, and to now my son be a fellow at Yale University, one of the most renowned universities in the country and perhaps globally. This is a testament to what Glendale Unified Schools have done right. My son has friends in North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and Australia.
I understand that
I am not done. Excuse me. My son has friends from all around the world, and that is a testament to the success of a forward-thinking district that has prepared him for 21st century learning and working and living for a world that is diverse, inclusive, and collaborative. I owe Glendale Unified for the great pride I feel as a parent, and I am here to thank each and every teacher. I would have come last month or the month before, but it wasn't the right place to thank teachers in an arena where perhaps they didn't feel safe. But today, I see many teachers here who supported my son. I'm grateful. I want to thank the teachers, the counselors, the administrators, the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, and everyone who contributed to the favorable outcome that I, as one parent, experienced, and I know that I speak for countless more. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for everyone's patience, and we are going to, I'm sorry. Dr. Ekchen.
Thank you, Board President. A couple of pieces of information that have been shared today. I just want to clarify real time, although I've been responding to emails, but one of them is that our gender support plans in GUSD follow state laws and do have parent signatures. So this idea that the gender support plans don't have them is not accurate.
Okay, we have listened, and now it's not. You are not going to be completely satisfied, but there are some pieces of information that we now will be able to give, and we are happy to hear from you again through email and other ways. So please do not disrupt. Dr. Ekchen is going to speak, and then we're going to go to the next agenda item. Dr. Ekchen, go ahead.
So I certainly am more than happy to individually meet with parents who have concerns. The only second point that I wanted to make sure that I communicated real time post this dialogue was this conversation about where changes occur in locker rooms. The policies and procedures we have in place respect the students' desire for privacy while changing, and we absolutely do not require adults to supervise in a way that would be inappropriate, and students have access to private changing areas on all of our campuses. And I think that may be a misunderstanding of some sort, but it's really important. I'm just sharing the policy that exists and what's happening in our schools right now.
Your time.
I'm not engaging. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Okay. Any other? All right. We are going to go now to the next item on the agenda.